Well, I just got off the phone with Xpert Accessories with the owner. He called me. It's been weeks that I've been trying to place an order and get some shipping information for some merchandise. And to start with, I assumed this business was, half a dozen people at the most. I don't actually know how many people are there, but I figured this is a small operation that's growing. And I put together, a cart full of stuff, like I say, weeks ago for a bumper and license plate brackets front and back and some chains for the tailgate and bed, situation on this truck. And I'm trying to think of what else. That's about it. Oh, a couple handles for the A-pillar in this truck. Some grab handles. And most of that stuff, other than the bumper, is real small. I mean, it had to weigh like 20 pounds maybe together, maximum. And when I initially filled out or used the website to put a cart together, it was like $120 some to ship, and I hadn't put in the bumper. And I'm thinking, well, the bumper probably comes freight. It comes probably on a pallet, like my lift kit and some other like heavy steel stuff that I'm ordered from farther away. And it's a small truck, but still, anyway. I just reached out to say, if I pick up this bumper, is there the opportunity to put all this stuff on that pallet or something like that? And just, am I smart if I get everything that I hope to buy from you guys all together rather than shipping some of this small stuff in time for the holidays? So I called and left a message. They shot a message via the Facebook website, or the page, and it went over into the next week, and I hadn't heard anything. So I called and I spoke to somebody, and they said, I'm not the right person to talk to about this. Someone will get back to you. But then I had to reach out again after that. And at that point, I think we were into the third week. And finally, someone got a hold of me while I'm working, and they're a couple time zones away. So they start later than I do by a few hours, and they go longer into the evening than I work. And so in the middle of my workday, someone said, I see what you're saying. Oh, it's a problem with the website because it thinks that each of these things is going in its own box. And he's telling me the website's messing up. It shouldn't even be that much. You ought to be able to get the bumper and all that little stuff for less than $100. And then ultimately I understand the bumper doesn't come on a pallet. It comes in a box. And all this stuff is like relatively small, but still we should be able to do all this handily for under $100 in shipping. So I go home. He said, just, go to the website and put that all, and I'll fix it. It'll be fixed or whatever. Whatever it was that evening or the next day or whatever, I go and I put everything back in the cart again. And shipping is over $200. And so then I call and leave a message, and it's a day or two or whatever, and then come back and go, oh, that's not right or anything. It's still messing up. We're going to have to do something different. And I say, man, this is taking a lot of time. Can you guys just do like a coupon code? I didn't have any amount that I mentioned or anything, but basically, can you tune this whole situation up to account for me having to work so hard at finalizing this situation, which sounds like you guys are growing and not enough people, not too many hats, whatever. He's been good when I get him. The people that I've talked to have been good when I get them, but it's few and far between the communication, and it doesn't seem like anybody really knows. And the website has, at this point, I'm thinking like, these are all 3D renderings of stuff. Not a lot of stuff has a photograph of it installed, of a product. And anyway, finally we get down to last week, or at least the beginning of this. Now, this is the last week before Christmas. This is Friday before the Christmas weekend. But early this week, or the earliest, late last week, someone sent back on Facebook message that Chris is going to put together a unique invoice and email it over, and then we'll just have to pay that. So fine, that's how we're going to do this thing. But I'm looking for it Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday, this week, and I'm not seeing anything. So I reach out again, and I have to leave a message again and say, like, we're working on this thing. I'm just trying to find out that we can finish it, because I was hoping to have stuff. We kept saying for the new year, early in the new year, that first week of the new year, and I'm looking to schedule that, putting it on the truck. So finally, I get a call today, middle of my workday. It's about noon on Friday before the Christmas holiday, and Chris is telling me, I got to get that invoice over to you, but I need your email address and I need your address at home. And at this point, I have had 4 or 5 calls with this business, at least. I've put those items in my shopping cart and regenerated my shopping cart and started from scratch and tried to figure this whole thing out half a dozen times at least. We're in our 4th week of the process. And I was told days ago that we'd get a unique invoice over to me to pay. And finally today, in the middle of my day, when there's just a few hours left before Christmas, he wants the information that's necessary to get that done. And also the stuff is ready to ship. Everything's ready to go out. He's got everything. That's cool. But I say, fine, man, it's all good. I just need to know that when I get that invoice, I can pay via PayPal or something like straightforward and legitimate, which is the way that I like to do business, at least for the first time with businesses that I can't go to locally. I do a lot of purchasing working for myself. I try to do as much locally as I can, but the stuff that I have to go out and get, I do it through the website. I do it through the shopping cart. I make a PayPal purchase if I can. Keep everything 100 for all the people involved. Now, I don't know what it'll be from accounting, but I said, so just so you know, if something doesn't go through, I know he's put a lot of time in this, at least. I didn't realize at this time how big of a problem it was going to be, but I knew at least that he'd put a lot of time in it, and I'm thinking even though they're handling problems that they're going to need to be able to handle, if people are like me trying to set up their truck with quite a few things out of the gate, he's telling me this whole time the problem is with the plethora of things you're putting in the cart, it barfs at the website, and shipping shouldn't be anywhere near that high. It should be around 100, around 100, around 100. And I kept seeing over 200, over 200, over 200. So up until today, I didn't even bring up shipping, I don't think, on this call. But the special invoice, I figure he'll have everything taken care of. I just need him to know if I don't pay it after all this time, it's because I'm not sending my credit card information or something like that straight over. It's going to have to be a protected kind of purchase. And I try to tell him, because the thing is, like, I'm not getting somebody every day or somebody who even calls me back the same day. I haven't seen any pictures of product installed on anyone's actual vehicle. And he's saying stuff like, we're 3D scanning these things, but they don't belong to us, so they go away before we've got parts developed. And it's like, if you aren't bolting up the parts that you're developing on actual things just to get the photography at the very least, but obviously to check fitment and make sure there aren't issues, it seems like a hasty niche business that's growing way too fast. And I said, you've been good. I appreciate it. I hope you have a happy holiday. You've had to do a lot of work on this, it seems like. But, thanks so much. So long as that's the situation with the invoice, I'll pay it. I'm so glad to hear that things are going to ship today. Just as cool as I can be. As cool as I can be about it. No problem. But it took a bit of a phone call. Now, this person is being paid for their time at work. That business is paying all their people for their time. The accounting people over there being paid for their time. But when Chaz pulls over on the side of the road to handle this on an otherwise paying work day, where I'm trying to crush stuff out as much as I can get done before I have to pause a project for a customer, I'm not charging the customer my time to sit on the side of the road and jibber jabber about something like this that's personal. I'm unpaid. And over all the workable hours of the year, at the end of the year, all of these hours that I could have been doing something billable to a customer, but I had to handle some debacle like this, it's taking money right out of my pocket, right out of my coffer for overhead, and right out of my personal pay. It's coming right out when I'm doing something like this. So I get a call. I say, that's all good. That'll be how it is. I'll look for that invoice. 10 minutes later, I get a call from the owner, and he's essentially, and he remains on this the whole time. He's pleasant, firm. Nobody's yelling and shouting, cussing, or anything. But his angle was, this has been a super special case. You've been white gloved the whole way. You're asking for discounts out of the gate. You're asking for special codes. You're calling. You don't understand how busy we are. You don't understand our staffing problems. You don't understand that everybody that we deal with is really happy with our products, except for, like, you're one of 3 people. And, and it'll probably be even further unhappiness when you get stuff. It'll be around and around and around. I said, I'm not trying to be a Karen. He goes, you're kind of being a Karen. I said, wait. I make my own stuff. I sell my own stuff online. It's nowhere near big enough for me to have anybody else, on top of working for myself and doing all my own logo and infrastructure stuff. The stuff I sell online, I've had to do some customer service myself. I've had to incorporate some loss because of the way that my website works on stuff. I'm not insensitive to this. But right along for weeks, I've been told right out of the gate to start with, that's too much shipping. It's an illegitimate amount of shipping. Our website's having a problem. It's an illegitimate amount of shipping. It should be less than 100 or about 100. And really, in the end, I'm looking for close, around $100. I don't need dollars and cents or technically less than 100. I'm looking for all of this and being around $100 or something for shipping, not over 200, not 210 or 220 or 230 or whatever it was. I said, that's been the issue this whole time. I've been coming back around each time because I'm told we got that straightened out. And I keep seeing, even after I apply the coupon code works. It's about $50 off. That doesn't even adjust for the discrepancy with the shipping. And I'm still thinking the discrepancy with shipping is nobody's fault. It's a technical issue and we've got to iron it out. Or I'd be foolish to just pay double for shipping that the merchant is telling me isn't a legitimate amount. Well, then you're giving my guy, I'm walking by his office and you're giving my guy an earful here at the end of the day once he's finally got stuff ready for you. thanks for making it ready. I have still been unable to pay you in a legitimate way, and I haven't even received the stuff yet. I haven't seen photographs of real stuff or the condition that I can expect to receive anywhere. And I've been told right along the whole way that the problems are with the website and the automatic shipping. And he's telling me, well, what do you expect? You want all this stuff for one truck? And I'm thinking, that's the way you want your business to go. You want people to just one fell swoop buy most of your catalog for what you offer for their model vehicle because you got good quality stuff and everything's on the up and up with you. And I'm in a position to share on my YouTube page and to make a post on the Facebook groups that I belong to with these little trucks to say that as much. But I have to say, I was fired as a customer and told that they would not be sending me anything for fear that it would continue like this after I received product and I didn't care for the way that it was shipped, or I didn't care for, I don't know what they went sniffing around and found as far as my review of receiving merchandise from places on the internet. But this is the world we live in 2023. I will be absolutely honest about my experience. And if you ship me a bunch of shoddy packaging for steel stuff and it gets dinged and banged up in shipping, even though it's probably going to immediately get dinged and banged up on my truck, you got a problem. People aren't going to like that. And if you think you're going to have fitment problems because you don't keep things around to make sure stuff bolts up to it and you can get photographs of it to put on the website to give people confidence that your products fit up and work right, then you got your own internal problems again. None of this is Chazzy's problem. Even this right now is costing Chazzy making this video instead of working for money, because I think the people need to understand that at no time did anyone get right back to me same day. Most often, it was at least a full day between transmissions on this whole thing. From the beginning, I was told that everything was on their end. It was their bad. They were going to get it straightened out, and kept being given opportunities to go back and check and see, go back and check and see. And then when I can do that after the workday, when they're still in business, I call 6, 7 o'clock EST, and I'm calling, toward the West Coast, and they should be there. No one's answering. And so then we're round and around we go with not being able to get back to one another. And thereby, all this time goes by. I'm offered $50 off of an order that would have totaled $500-600 at least in merchandise. And the call from the owner continued to put it on me as being a problem and expecting all of them to bend over backwards and do all this extra work, when it's like, if you'd have told me that $200 and some was a legitimate cost due to factors from the get-go, then I wouldn't have been holding out this whole time on paying it. I'd have just paid it because you'd have been telling me that it was a legitimate shipping cost. And I'd have looked forward to doing everything the fundamentally ordinary way. I wouldn't have probably had been pressed to the point of saying, it could be cool to get a coupon card. At this point, I've got a hard hour. At this point, I've got 2 whole solid work hours or more now with this video on this debacle that I haven't been able to generate income out of my business. So that's why I was looking for a little something in the form of a coupon. The coupon thing was thrown in my face. How much running around people have done is thrown in my face. The back and forth and the pestering has been thrown in my face. Having been told days ago, if not over a week ago, that I'd be getting a special invoice, not seeing it right along, and then being kind of salty the last day that it could be sent ostensibly to be able to get the stuff by the time we were talking I'd be getting this stuff, and not being appreciative enough, even though I had been very kind and wished everybody a happy holiday and tried to be sympathetic to how difficult it had been. Hopefully I hadn't been that difficult. That's been my angle this whole time. But pushing at me over being fired as a customer, being too much trouble, being one of the few people that have had any problems. And I say, that's great. You have few people having problems. You should jump on the few that you've got, snuff them out, instead of standing there going, we got so many problems, we don't even know where to begin. You just got a couple, apparently. If you could hear me out, I'm not bad at explaining what my issue and the nature of the miscommunication has been, like some folks can be. Open your ears and listen. I'm trying to be cool. I'm happy to pay you the legitimate cost for things. I'm just trying to tell you it's been a bad experience from the outside, and a lot of it has to do with the information that I've been given to work with, or that I haven't been given in a timely fashion. And this is my actual experience. I'm going to find a way to get myself some of their products, and then we'll see if there's any problems with that. But at this point, I cannot recommend dealing with a company that would sooner make everything the customer's fault and pull back and try to make somebody out to be a Karen, when in fact they've got a few issues that are complicated and unique, but when they're articulated directly and you're able to see what all went on here, because a lot of what I said was written out, and you can go back and read what I said and the nature of it. It should be clear that a couple little things are falling through the cracks over there, and it behooves you to take care of me and to hear me out, even if it comes down to the owner calling me. I had to correct him on a couple of things like that. Wasn't as soon as I knew, and this was the information I was working on right along like this. Therefore, you can see why, if you're me, I'm frustrated and bewildered, and I'm just asking some questions just as I'm speaking now. I'm just being plain and honest. This has struck me like this. I'm a little concerned over that. I don't understand. Can you enlighten me as to what's going on here? All right, whatever. Try to be reasonable, and this is the type of thing that I have to deal with once in a while. And so, unlike them, I'm interested to know, is it me? Is there some problem with what I expect out of good communication and frequent communication? Pretty much status quo. When you call a business during their open hours, if you don't get them, they call you right back. They're interested to have your cash, and if they can straighten you out on a misconception that you're having, they'll do it. And if you can straighten them out on a miscommunication that you're having, they have got open ears, and if it makes sense to them, well, then they've got to figure something out with that and move forward and try to have a positive sort of vibe going out there to folks. He put it on me that I'm going to be too negative about this whole thing. It would have been just fine if we got to the end of that conversation and he had said, man, I hadn't realized a couple of the things there. No, I'm seeing what you're saying. I'm real sorry about that. And I would have said, listen, man, it's no problem. I'll pay the total. If you're sending over a total via PayPal to pay it, I'll pay it. All right, well, that's cool. I wasn't going to send it. It's kind of been out of shape, but I'll send the invoice over. Please enjoy our products. We're going to do a real nice job of trying to get into you on time. They should turn out real nice. You shouldn't have a big deal. And if you do, call me up directly. We'll work it out. And I'd have paid, like I say, $600-700, and I'd been just looking forward to things arriving in a couple of weeks, looking forward to making good YouTube content and discuss the quality of it, and if they can stand by it, then there's nothing to worry about. And unfortunately, this all fell through because a business owner was bound and determined to punish me by refusing to send their product and make it about how, well, no matter how good of a job they're going to do, despite their kind of piss poor job up until now that I've made clear, I'm not going to be satisfied. And the easier thing to do is not to improve or to try to identify those couple of things that should be easy enough to iron out for somebody and just wash their hands of the whole situation and make it go away as far as they're concerned. It's not going to go away. Okay? At the very least, everybody's going to hear this if they're interested to do so. This is information that I want to make available to people about this business before they go and make a purchase. So take that under advisement. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.